Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In this lecture, we are going to speak about sine law and cosine law. In sine law, we have to understand the angle A has opposite side, small letter A, and the angle B has opposite to it, small letter B, and the angle C has small letter C is the length of the side. And we have a sine law, which says basically we can write it in two different forms. Either we say the length of the side A divided by sine the opposite angle equal to sine B over the sine of the opposite angle, which is equal to C and divided by sine of the opposite angle. Or the other way around, sine of the opposite angle divided by the sine should equal to sine the opposite angle B divided by the sine of B, sine of the opposite angle C over C. Both of them are the same. Let's solve questions regarding this rule. Here I'm graphing any triangle, and I have here the angle A, which is 42, and I have the angle B, which is equal to 61. Okay, and I have opposite of A is a 12. Now, how to find the third angle, which is C? Basically, C will be equal to 180 degrees, take away 42, take away 61 degrees. And that will be equal to this will be equal to, if we say 180 minus 42 minus 61, that will be 77 degrees. So we know now this angle will be 77 degrees. Now, how to find the side C, how to find the side B? We will say we have B divided by sine B, which is 61, must equal to 12, which is A divided by sine 42. And that will mean our B will equal to, as we say, we swap this one, sine 61 will be multiplied with the 12. So it will be 12 times sine 61 degrees divided by sine 42 degrees. Since we don't have a calculator, we just keep that will be the sine. We cannot simplify it unless we have a famous angles. Now, if we want to find C, we will say C divided by sine 77 will equal to 12 over sine 42 again. So again, if I want to find C, I need to move that one there. So it will be C equal to 12 sine 77 degrees divided by sine 42 degrees. Now, again, since we don't have a calculator, that will be our answer for this question, and we completely solve the triangle. Here is again another triangle. So I have the angle A, which is 110, and I have the angle, let's say B, we don't have it. I have the angle C, which is equal to 32 degrees. How could I find the angle B? The angle B, as we said, will be 180 minus 32 minus 110. So 180 minus 32, sorry, minus 110 will equal to 38 degrees. Now, I have B is equal to 12, which means this is 12. And I need to find what's C, what is A. To find A, we will say A over sine 110 must equal to. Now we get B, it's 38 degrees. So we will say that will equal to 12 over sine 38 degrees, which means our A will be equal to, as we said, that has to move there. So it will be 12 sine 110 divided by sine 38 degrees. That will be the side A. We cannot simplify it anymore since we don't have calculator in the exam. Our calculator is not allowed. Now, to find C, we will say C divided by sine the opposite angle, which is 32, will equal to 12 divided by sine of the opposite angle, which is 38. So therefore, again, this will move there. So we will get C is equal to 12 sine 32 degrees divided by sine 38 degrees. Now, that will solve all the needed information about the triangle. Again, here we have angle A, we don't know it. We have B is 28 degrees, that's B. And we have C is equal to 78 degrees. So to find A, that will be 180 minus 28 minus 78. So 180 minus 28 minus 78 will be 74 degrees. So that is 74 degrees. Now I have opposite of C is equal to 44. So I need to find what's A and what's B. So we will say again, A over sine 74 is equal to, I have 44 divided by sine the opposite, which is 78. And as we said, that has to move there. So you will get A is equal to 44 sine 74 divided by sine 78 degrees. Now, to find B, we will say B divided by sine the opposite angle, which is 28, has to equal to 44 again, sine the opposite angle, which is 78 degrees. So moving this one to that side, that will be B equals to 44 times sine 28 degrees divided by sine 78 degrees. That will be the complete solution of the triangle. Now, this is what I have. I have A is unknown. I have B is 32 degrees. That's B. And I have the opposite side of B, which is 9. And I have the opposite side of the unknown C, which is 14. Now, I need to find now first through B, what is the side A. So we will say here, I will have, sorry, I need to find first what is the value of C. So we will say the angle C, and that will come from, I have sine 32 degrees divided by 9 should equal to sine the angle C divided by 14. So that will be equal to sine C is equal to 14. This should be multiplied with that one. Sine 32 divided by 9. Now, what will be C? C will be sine inverse of this quantity, 14 sine 32 degrees over 9. That will be the value of C. Now, if I get C, I can find what is A. So A will be equal to 180 minus 32 minus sine C. I will use now calculator, but in the exam, if he wants you to find it, he needs to give you a famous angle, or you just or he could ask only find sine C, not all the triangles. Anyway, it is shift sign. If I want to use the calculator, and that's a fraction, it's 14 sine 32 divided by 9. So this is actually 55.52 degrees. So that is 55.52 degrees. So what you will get, it's plus 32 minus 180. So that will be 92 degrees, 0.48 degrees. So we know now what is A, it's 92.48. And we have C, which is 55.52 degrees. So it will be now, we know the angles, we could know all the sides. So the side A will be A over sine 92.48 equals to 9 over sine 32. So that will give me A is equal to 9. Again, that will be multiplied with this one, sine 92.48 degrees over sine 32 degrees. Now, if I want to find, so I have 9, I have 14, so I finished. That's all what we need to do. Now, here is another triangle. I have A, I don't know it. I have B, I know it's 30 degrees. And I have opposite of A is 1. Opposite of B, it's 2.4. But I don't have the angle C, it's unknown. So again, it's the same thing. I will say I have sine 30 divided by 2.4. I will be able now to find what is A. So it will be sine A divided by opposite of A. That will mean sine A is equal to sine 30, which is 0.5, divided by 2.4. So if we multiply up and down by 10, you will get here 5, you will get here 24. So that's sine A. So A will equal to sine inverse of 5 over 24. Of course, in order to get C, I need to find that one using the calculator. He could ask you in the exam, it's just find sine A, and that will be easy for the examiner. But if he wants the angle, he must allow a calculator, or he should give you famous one. Anyway, the angle is 12. 0.02 degrees. So I get now that's 12.02 degrees. So I should know now what is C, which is 180 minus 30 minus 12.02 degrees. So that will be 137 degrees, 0.98 degrees. Now, once I know that is 137.98 degrees, I could know what is C, because that will mean C over sine 137.98 degrees should equal to 2.4 divided by sine 30, which means now that should go there. C will equal to 2.4 sine 137.98 divided by sine 30 degrees. Okay. We could say also sine 30 is 1/2. So if we say 2.4 sine 137.98 degrees, and if this is 1/2, now multiply by 2 up and down, you will get C is equal to 4.8 sine 137.98 degrees, and that's the best we can find for C. Similarly here, I have a triangle. Given to me A is 20.5 degrees. It's 20.5 degrees. And it's given opposite of A, it's 10.3. B is not given. C is not given, but opposite of C is 14.1. So I can find C through sine C over 14.1 must equal to sine 20.5 over 10.3, which will mean sine C will equal to 14.1 times sine 20.5 over 10.3. So that will give me what is C. It's the sine inverse of the whole quantity 14.1 times sine 20.5 divided by 10.3. As I said, this cannot be done unless we use the calculator. So in the exam, he might give you either famous angles or he should just ask find the sine. Okay, so that will be equal to 28.65 degrees. So if this is 28.65 degrees, this will mean B will equal to 180 minus 20.5 minus 28.65. So that will equal to this will be 130.85 degrees. So we know now what is B. It's 130.85 degrees. So I know the angles now, and I know two sides. So I need to find what's B. So we will say B divided by sine 130.85 will equal to 10.3 divided by sine the opposite, which is 20.5. So B will equal to 10.3 times sine 130.85. So that's times that one divided by sine 20.5 degrees. So that will be that one. Now, an application, it says find the other two sides, which means if I call this one A dot B, we need to find what is A and what is B, and that's too easy. And that's very important as well. If we say A over sine 47 degrees should equal to 320 divided by sine, the opposite, which is 54. So that will mean A is equal to, as we said, that will be 320 times sine 47 degrees divided by sine 54 degrees. Now, to find B, we will do the same thing. We will say B over sine opposite of B. If I know this is 47, that's 54. So what's the angle B? The angle B will equal to 180 minus 54 minus 47. So I will have 180 minus 54 minus 47. So that is equal to 79 degrees. So that will be equal to, if this is 79 degrees, we will say over B over sine 79 should equal to 320 over sine 54. That will mean B, again, that should go there, 30 sine 79 degrees over sine 54 degrees, and that will be our answer. We found the two sides. Now we will speak about cosine law. Cosine law, again, we keep the same thing. This is A, that's opposite of it, we call it A. This is C, for example, that's the opposite of it, C, and that's B, and that will be small b. What will be the rules? I need to make sure I have no mistake here. If I speak about cosine C, so here it should be C squared. It will be A squared plus B squared minus 2AB. That is true. And if I'm speaking about cosine A here, it should be A squared, and that should be B squared plus C squared minus 2BC. And if I'm speaking about, now I found C, A, so I need B. So B squared, that will be cosine B. So it will be B squared, A squared plus C squared minus 2AC cosine B. That will be the right formulas. Now, in a practice, that's too easy, actually. If I have the triangle and it says find the third side, here it says find the third side. He gave me an angle which is 25.9 degrees. He called it A. And he gave me, this is B, so opposite of B is 53.4. And if this is C, opposite of C, that is 71.4. Now, what does that mean? If I want to find what is A, so we will say A squared is equal to B squared plus C squared minus 2 times B times C cosine the angle A. Now, so A squared will equal to B squared. What is B squared? It's 53.4 squared. What is C squared? 71.4 squared. Minus 2 times B, 53.4, times C, which is 71.4, cosine the angle A, which is 25.9 degrees. That will mean A will be simply the square root of this quantity of 53.4 all the square plus 71.4 squared minus 2 times 53.4 times 71.4 cosine 25.9 degrees. If I don't have calculator, I will just leave it as it is. Again, he said here, find the third side. This is, he gave, this is A, I don't have the angle A, I have B, which has the angle 52.4, and it's given opposite of A, it's 243, and this is C, opposite of C, it's given to be 205. So what is B? So we will say B squared is equal to A squared plus C squared minus 2 times A times C cosine the angle B. So B squared will equal to A squared, which is 243 squared, plus C squared, it's 205 squared, minus 2 times 243 times 205 cosine the angle, which is B, it's 52.4 degrees. So our B, again, we don't have any calculator, we'll just write it 243 squared plus 205 squared minus 2 times 243 times 205 cosine the angle 52.4 degrees. Now, example number 10, find the third again side. So what I have is, I have the angle A, I don't have it, but I have the opposite, which is 9. I have, this is the angle B, I don't have it, but I have the opposite of it is 7. And I have, this is C, so it's 72 degrees. And what is requested is the third side. So C squared will be equal to A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cosine the angle C. So C squared will equal to A squared, it's 9 squared, plus B squared, which is 7 squared, minus 2 times 9 times 7, cosine the angle C, which is cosine 72 degrees. As we said, if we don't have a famous angle, we just keep it 9 squared, square root of 9 squared plus 7 squared minus 2 times 9 times 7, cosine 72. So he probably could give you a famous angle, and then you can find the result. Now, given 3 sides of the triangle, find the angle C. Now, I have A, B, C. I have opposite of C, it's 42. I have opposite of B, it's 29. And I have opposite of C, 42, opposite of A is 23. And what he want what is the angle C. So I will say here, if I want the angle C that will come from C squared should equal to A squared I have A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cosine the angle C. So if I want to find C, I could solve actually. I move this one to this side. So I'll get 2AB cosine C, and moving that one to that side, it will be A squared plus B squared minus C squared, then divide by 2AB, divide here by 2AB. So cosine C will equal to A squared plus B squared minus C squared over 2AB. So this means cosine C will equal to A squared is 23 squared. B squared means 29 squared minus C squared, it's 42 squared divided by 2 times A, which is A is 23, B, which is 29. That will give me cosine C. He could ask you only find cosine C, or even if he said find C, we will say simply C, it's cosine inverse 23 all squared plus 29 all squared minus 42 all squared over 2 times 23 times 29, and that's the best we can reach. See its cosine inverse that quantity. Now, find the angle A. So if we say find the angle A, giving the sides, this is A, opposite of A is 108. This is B, opposite of B, it's 132. This is C, opposite of C is 160. So therefore, we will say A squared is equal to B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cosine the angle A, which means cosine A, if we rearrange it, it will be divided by 2BC. It will be B squared plus C squared. That will be moved there, and that will be moved there. So it will be minus A squared. So cosine A will equal to B squared, which is 132 all squared, plus C squared, which is 160 all squared, minus A squared, which is 108 all squared, divided by 2 times 132 times 160, and A will be cosine inverse of this quantity, which is 132 squared plus 160 squared minus 108 squared divided by 2 times 132 times 160. Again, that's the best we can do. Okay, now here it says find the angle B. So I have, again, this is A, I don't have it, but I have, this is 80 opposite to A. This is B, I don't have it, but I have opposite to it 92. C, I don't have it, but opposite of it is 124. And he wants me to find what is the angle B is what. So we will say that will mean B squared is equal to A squared plus C squared minus 2AC cosine the angle B, which means cosine the angle B will equal to A squared plus C squared minus B squared divided by 2AC, which means cosine B will equal to A squared, that's 80 squared, plus C squared, that's 124 squared, minus B squared, which is 92 squared, divided by 2 times A, which is 80 times 124. So what is B? As we said, it's cosine inverse. We just put it this way, and that will be more than enough because we don't have a calculator in the exam. Now, here he said find the distance across the lake, which means what is B? So we will say here what I have, B squared should equal to 136 squared, which is this one, plus 162 squared minus 2 times 136 times 162 cosine the angle 78 degrees. So B, simply we will have square root of 136 squared plus 162 squared minus 2 times 136 times 162 cosine the angle 78. That's the best we can do if we have only that is if we have the not famous angles. If we have famous angles, we can simplify it. The last example in this section, I have an area formula. So it gives me three sides. The first side is 236. The second side 620. The third side is 814. And he wants to find what's the area. Area is defined to be square root of S times S minus A, S minus B times S minus C, where S is the sum A plus B plus C divided by 2. So S in our case, it's 620 plus 814 plus 236 divided by 2. So that will be 620 plus 814 plus 236 divided by 2. So that will be 835. So our area is equal to square root of 835 times 835 minus 620. 835 minus 236. 835 minus 814. That's all. That's the area. We finish section sine law and cosine law, and I wish you the best in your exams. So